Right, guys, I guess we should talk about the failed assassination attempt on Donald Trump. That is the main topic across the world and should make him winning the coming election a bloody dead certain. But for those who don't know, apparently the shooter took some shots and caught Trump in the top part of his ear, so not life-threatening as he did this after. Now, I've got to say, that's a pretty badass thing to do, but the reptilian who tried to kill him did kill a spectator in the process before getting his greasy wig split by the Secret Service, and quickly it's gotta be bloody said. Though, to be honest with you, the Secret Service and security teams are gonna be in deep shit for even letting it happen in the first place. I mean, the shooter was apparently only 150 metres from Trump and on a bloody rooftop, so an area that should be covered from the start, you would think. Now, it's also got to be said right off the bat that a large portion of blame for this event must be levelled at the feet of the mainstream scum media, who, as you know, have actively whipped up their mentally deficient viewers into a frenzy over Trump, and this includes here in the UK. I mean, look at this pond scum eating BBC tosspot as a perfect example of that, because just 2 weeks ago he wrote this: "If I was Biden, I would hurry up and have Trump murdered on the basis that he's a threat to America's security."
For me, you're somewhere between a cockroach and that white stuff that accumulates at the corner of your mouth when you're really thirsty.
Of course, him being a horrid little scumbag is the BBC through and through, even if he now says it was a joke and is salty because it's being used against him. This, for me, is hypocritical as fuck, because the BBC will happily use out of context and old tweets to destroy people they don't like, so him moaning about this now is actually laughable.
I don't give a fuck!
But the media, for me, should be the focus, because an innocent guy who went to a political rally now lies dead, all because the scum media in this almost 9-year-8 campaign against Trump, which I guess is why Sly News couldn't help themselves with this tweet, an article that they shut out just hours after it. Nothing justifies an assassination bid, but did Trump play a part in changing the rules of engagement?
Are you retarded?
Yeah, that's Sly News doing what Sly News do best. Blame the victim if they don't like 'em. So I take it they also think the dead spectator deserved it because he supported Trump.
Wankers!
No, naturally they got roasted for this, with over 1,000 comments shitting on them in just the first hour, but Sly News wasn't alone in doing this. No, LBC also jumped in by getting on Brendan Cox, husband of murdered MP Joe Cox, who I guess thought it was a good idea to take a day off milking his dead wife's name to milk Trump's instead.
In the context of Donald Trump, let's be 100% clear that the attack on him was outrageous, completely unacceptable, and there is zero justification for it. But let's also be very clear that he has consistently incited and inflamed political violence himself.
Yeah, every time I see this guy, he makes me think he's more of a prick than I did before, and this one here was no different. But blaming a political assassination victim when your wife was killed over politics has got to be next level in anyone's book. Plus, he wouldn't like it if people blamed his wife for what happened to her, would he? So doing this is as demented as it gets for me. But I guess all we need now is for the BBC to blame Brexit, climate change, or maybe the far right, as I'm sure they wish they could bloody do. Apparently, though, the reptile who did this is some anti-far shitweasel, so it might be a bit of a tough one to stretch, but you never know, it is the BBC after all.
Pandemic.
We're off!